What's up, guys? Welcome back out to my garage. I wanted to show you this new knife sharpener that I just got in the mail. Give you my thoughts on it here. This is, I believe it's called the Ruxin, and this is the 4th generation. Now, Ruxin is a Chinese knife sharpener. There's probably a whole bunch of clones and duplicates or whatever that you can find on eBay, but if you have looked at knife sharpeners, Chinese knife sharpeners, Ruxin is probably a brand that you've heard before. And I got the 1st generation one a while ago, which looks like this. And as you can see from the amount of rust on this thing, it didn't get much use. I just didn't think it was all that great. The way that this one works, the the back and forth action is fine. You can almost hold a decent angle when you're using it, but the clamping system was terrible. To get a knife clamped in here was tricky to begin with, and then to flip it over and duplicate that on the other side was terrible. And then in this arm here, you have a fair amount of wiggle, so it tended to change the angle quite a bit, and it was just really finicky. It was a mess, and I just didn't like it all that much, so I ended up basically just using the stones that I got with it and would use them freehand, which I'm not terrible at freehand sharpening, but I'm certainly nowhere close to what some people can do freehand. And yeah, Jared Neves, I'm talking to you. I just don't have that level of skill. I would just always convex my edge or end up laying it back just a little bit too far and put scratches way back past the line where I should, and it just, I ended up getting this diamond stone over here, which helped a lot. Having that big flat area to work on was helpful, but I ordered this thing a couple of months ago and didn't think it was ever going to show up. They actually refunded me for this and said it was lost in transit, and then it just decided to show up yesterday. So I figured I'd show it to you guys and give you my thoughts on it. I am actually very impressed with this one. This is 100 times better design than the original Ruxin. Takes the same fixed angle stones here, and these are really common. You can find them eBay, Amazon, whatever. And the actual stones that you get, I mean, they are of Chinese quality. Some of them are not glued properly to the plastic, and as far as stones go, if I was going to sharpen stainless steel or something soft, these might be okay, but I went ahead and got this set of diamond stones when I bought the first one, and these are fantastic. This is a 240 grit, a 600, and a 1000 grit diamond. So I used these freehand more than anything because a lot of the knives that I have are D2 or some sort of harder steel, and it's just diamonds are the way to go. So I'm glad I had these, because when this thing came in, it didn't come with any instructions, so I looked at a picture to see how to put everything together, got it set up properly, and very, very impressed with the way that this one works. Just load the stone in here. It has an adjustment knob on the back that you loosen, and this arm goes up and down so you can set your angle. Tighten this guy down. And then the clamping system on this one is much, much better. Now, I know they actually have a 5th generation that you just pull out and turn and flip. While I thought about getting that one, I kind of liked the big solid base on this one and how you could clamp it down, and this one just looked more solid to me, so this is the one that I ended up ordering. That the new flip style one does look pretty nice, but I ended up going with this one, and I'm kind of glad that I did, because the way that this one works, you unscrew this guy here, it opens the jaws, and you can do the same thing. This one flips, and then when you tighten it down, it actually locks it back into the same place each time. So when you flip it, I have checked, and it holds the same exact angle both times when you flip it back and forth, which is really nice. So I think it works great. It's got 2 little pieces of rubber in there. The only thing I might do is add a strip of bicycle inner tube under both of those jaws, just so the corners here don't end up scratching your blade. It doesn't look like the rubber comes all the way out to the ends. But the first knife that I sharpened with it, obviously, was my everyday carry, and came out with a really nice crispy, even edge on this, and it probably doesn't show as well on camera, but I was very impressed. Now this edge, I've been sharpening this thing freehand for a long time, and it comes down to such a thin edge that, you know, you can lay this thing pretty far back and it's just a really nice thin edge. But I had convexed the edge pretty bad, and because it was so thin, it still gets razor sharp even doing it that way with a little bit of convex to the edge. But I put the 600 grit diamond in and put some work in to get that angle nice and sharp again, and not kind of rounded like this, and both sides back and forth a few times, and got a really nice, clean, crispy angle. And boy, this thing felt fantastic when I was finished. I mean, very, very impressed. You can see, even when I hold this, there's no wiggle to this joint right here, which is nice, the way that they have this ball locked in with this bearing. It is a very solid feeling setup. So once you get your knife locked in here, there's just not a lot of play in this arm, so you can really get a nice even angle. It's fairly smooth in here. Maybe put a couple drops of lubricant or something to really keep that nice, or you could polish this rod up if you wanted to get it a little bit smoother. But all in all, for 45 or 50 bucks, this is a really nice fixed angle sharpener. Now I know, you know, plenty of people are in love with the KME or Wicked Edge or whatever, but if you don't have that kind of money to spend, this is a really nice option. Again, I probably will get that flip set up just to try them side by side and see, but for somebody who, you know, typically was not the greatest knife sharpener in the world, I'm okay. You know, I can keep my stuff sharp enough for what I need to do, but I would never claim to be able to put a polished mirror, perfect beveled edge on somebody else's knife. That's just not something that I do. But this just really gave me a lot of confidence that I could put a nice, crispy, clean line and make it look nice. And I have, since I got the first one, I have gotten quite a few different stones with it. I got the diamond set, like I said, but then I also got this ruby stone that I've used quite a bit. Now, after you go from 600 to 1,000 on the diamonds, you hit it with this, and it's pretty much mirrored at that point. But, you know, I usually don't do that because, if anything, I'm just putting a working edge on my everyday user of a knife. But if you really wanted to get a mirror polished edge, you can get one of these. Or, funny enough, I saw in Jared's last video, he got the same black stone and his was cracked. Well, mine came cracked too, so I've never actually used this one, but I think this is like a 5,000 grit stone or something, piece of granite it looks like, I'm not sure, but mine was broken, so I've never actually used this. The red ruby is as high up of a grit as I've gone, but, you know, after finishing up with this, I just, you know, hit it with some stropping compound or whatever, and then a little bit on a leather strop, and boy, can you get a nice, crispy, sharp knife with this guy here. So I was happy with it. I'm not going to link anything. I'm not trying to sell anything. I just figured I'd give you my thoughts on this because it came in. So I give it a thumbs up. I think this is a pretty good setup. The design of it is pretty user-friendly. Once you get it set up and figure out how it works and able to get your knife clamped in there, it works as it should. Holds a nice angle and gives you a nice, clean, sharp line. So that's my thoughts on that one. Whereas this guy, not even worth owning. So I would skip the first generation and go right to number 4 if you are looking at Chinese Ruxin knife sharpeners. But that's my thoughts on that one. So thanks for watching. See you at the next video.